Alright everyone, so according to this guy on MSNBC, this is Anand Giridharadas, and he feels that we in America are a bit too freedom obsessed. He says this is a primordial American tradition to be just so obsessed with freedom, and it seems as if he thinks that is weird because, as he points out, we're a country founded on slavery and genocide. So why is this obsession with freedom an American phenomenon? Now, first of all, have there been genocides and has there been slavery in the United States? Well, obviously yes. But to define the U.S.'s beginnings and foundations on slavery is extraordinarily disingenuous for one reason. Slavery was by no means specific to the U.S. Slavery was ubiquitous throughout nearly the entire planet for almost all known history dating back to ancient Mesopotamia. Slavery was found in nearly all places, times, cultures, you name it. It was nearly everywhere. So it is not fair to say that we were founded on slavery. That was the default position in the world in 1776. There was hardly an alternative being presented by anyone. Slavery was going to be a thing. Now, that is very unfortunate. If I had a magic wand and a time machine, I'd change that horrifying aspect of human history, but that's just it. It's a part of human history, not just U.S. history. That is just something that bugs me. People in the U.S. mainly seem to think of slavery as simply a U.S. phenomenon, while forgetting the fact that it was nearly everywhere at nearly all times within almost all cultures to some degree. It reminds me when people say that the U.S. only became an economic powerhouse because of slavery. When someone says that, just ask them what happened to all the other countries that had slavery long before the U.S. even existed. Why didn't they all blossom into an economic powerhouse? After all, if slavery is what creates wealth, capital, and efficient production, then Africa and almost all of Asia should have been a utopia by now, but it isn't. Because it just so happens slavery is actually a terrible drag on an economy. It's a terrible way to run an economy. There's no incentive to invest in capital. There's no incentive to train and educate past a certain point. In fact, there's a disincentive to do any of those things. So this boils down to a weird attempt to pin the success of the U.S. on something terrible, because people like Anand here cannot seem to accept the fact that government is an astronomical detriment to society, and severely limiting it in scope is among the best things you can do for prosperity, standard of living, and societal welfare. So here's another thing. This guy Anand says that Americans are too obsessed with freedom. We're too fearful of the government. And as I said, he pointed out that we're founded on slavery. Now, this is weird because who exactly protected the institution of slavery? Who mandated it? Who punished those who helped the slaves? Who insisted that runaway slaves be returned to their owners? Hell, who put the laws on the books that said one human being could own another human being involuntarily? And we're going to enforce this practice in the first place. It was the government. So on one hand, Anand here is saying we should not fear the government so much, we should put more trust in them, and if it weren't for this primordial obsession with freedom we all have, we would do the right thing and be more complacent with a stronger government fist hovering over us, as if it isn't already strong enough, which is a joke. But Anand says that our obsession with freedom and our opposition to government is weird since we're founded on slavery. Well, yeah. As I said, slavery is a fantastic reason to hate government, as slavery was protected and enforced by government. This would be like saying to a Jewish person in Germany, you know, you're so obsessed with the government not treating people differently because of their religion. Why be so obsessed with that when there are far worse things that could happen to you, like the Holocaust? What Anand is saying here is about as incoherent and insane as that. He used one of the most disgusting things ever enforced by government throughout the world to say that our distaste for government is strange. Just baffling. And here's another point. Are we freedom obsessed? Yeah, sure, we are. We talk about it a lot. I talk about it a lot. But I wish I didn't have to. If it weren't for so many people like this guy who severely downplay the negative effects that government has had throughout all of history, and if we didn't have a government that gleefully takes money away from people or throws them into cages, or both, over stupid, ridiculous, victimless nonsense, if we didn't have that, I wouldn't have to talk about freedom so much. But am I freedom obsessed? Are we freedom obsessed? Sure. Because you can call me crazy or selfish, but I don't like being told what to do, how to do it, under what circumstances I'm allowed to do it, or if I'm allowed to do it at all. And I don't like being told this by people I've never met and who have never met me, and we likely never even lived within 100 miles from one another, and these people congregate in one city on the East Coast to throw out mandates and edicts for 325 million people over 4 million square miles. Yes, I would like to be liberated from that. I would like freedom from that. If that makes me obsessed with freedom, then I'm proud of my obsession, and I think it's shameful to not be obsessed with it. But that is all for now. This guy is an utter freaking joke. But please like, subscribe, remember to trust your government, and don't be too obsessed with your individual autonomy. Just submit to the state and take it easy.